Hola, mujeres. Today we're diving into one of the most talked about wellness gadgets on the market, the Oura Ring, which is, if you have listened to our podcast regularly, you know that we both own one. And it has been a year now. Crazy to think about it. We've talked about this a lot. In a few of our episodes, we kind of like bits and pieces. We say a little bit about it, and we talked about it a year ago, and we gave you a little bit of our insights. But this episode specifically, we will give you our basically like our thoughts about it. But if you ever wonder whether this tiny piece of jewelry can actually improve your sleep, optimize your recovery, or help you understand your body in a deeper way, this episode is for you. We'll break down our real experience with the Oura Ring, the good, the bad, what surprised us, and our final thoughts, and whether you should invest in this ring. So get comfy and let's get into it. But first, let me give you some of the general information about this ring, because obviously we want you to know what it is, what the ring is, like what the sizing is, like where you can buy it and things like that. So again, you can buy it pretty much everywhere online. So essentially you can go on Amazon, you can go on the actual website. I think Best Buy has it, pretty much like all the online stores. That's where you can get it. But you need a sizing kit before you actually order the ring to be able to order your actual size based on the finger you're actually going to wear the ring on. They have basically different generations, but the latest ones are the generation 4, and I think they came out with like a ceramic generation as well. They both come in different colors. So I have the gold one, and then Rosie has the silver one.
Silver.
Exactly. And then I think the ceramic one comes in a bunch of different colors. But the most expensive ones are the gold, the rose gold, and the latest version, which is the ceramic ones, which starts at $499. I know, pretty hefty, right? Very expensive. And then the box comes with the ring, a charger, and a charging cable, essentially. So again, it's an investment, obviously, and one that, again, you can buy online, you can go to the store, but you do have to be very careful because you do have to get a sizing kit to be able to know where you want to use the ring. And I think online, and Rosie can correct me if I'm wrong, but they kind of recommend that you wear it on this ring, on this finger,
Mm-hmm.
on I think your middle finger or
Um,
your thumb, right? So those are the three fingers that I guess they recommend, because that's where basically like the reading areas that they mostly like, that's where you can get the most reading, I guess. The data, that's where you can get most of the data, essentially, from those three fingers. But the most recommended finger is basically your index. Um,
yes.
so I guess you do what you do what you want with that information, but basically those are the three recommended fingers. So you have to get a sizing kit, and that's where you can get the size that you need, essentially. So that's information, basic information, before we go into the details to talk about the ring specifically. So here we go. So Rosie, let's start with the good. So why we like the ring? So do you want to get us started, Rosie?
Yes. So for me, what caught me was an ad on Instagram talking about sleep. It was saying like, "Oh, do you ever feel sleepy?" And I'm like, "What? A ring?" Because this Oura ring is my first, I guess, health tracking gadget I have. I've never done anything tracking on my phone or Apple Watch or Fitbit, nada. And I actually love it. Basically for my sleep, it already identifies like before we started recording, I was asking Jam like, "What's your chronotype?" And she's like, "What?" So we were checking on our app like, when is it that we could optimize our sleep? Like what time we should be going to bed at? For example, I'm an evening type. Jana said that she's an early evening type, and it basically takes data from the past 3 months of your sleep rhythm and your heart rate and your body temperature and etc. And basically, what it has done with my sleep is really, I love how it tells me when you go in the app at nighttime what is the bedtime time frame that you should have in order to get a good night's sleep. So it starts telling you like, oh, between 9:30 and 10:30, you need to start winding down. So it's such a great reminder and really validates of how what type of rest your body needs. Um, so speaking of sleep, I also hired a sleep coach about 2 months ago.
Was it
And
so? Is it so?
yeah,
Pause. So remember when we had the episode about sleep, right? Which was like I think 2 episodes ago. I think
yes,
she mentioned that she hired the sleep coach that
yeah,
we actually invited to our episode as a guest.
yes.
So you see how it tracks.
Yes, this
So
is
I just
really
wanted
the ring.
to plug
Yeah,
that
because
in.
this ring, I call it my health buddy. It's my buddy to tell me, like, hey, how am I feeling? It validates, like, it tracks three things that I really check is number one, my readiness. So it tells me, like, okay, how ready is my body? Number two, the sleep. And then number three is like the menstrual cycle that I'm in. So those are the three main things that I look at. I know there is a lot of the activity, but I'm not as an active person yet. Um, but it does track also your activity. But for me specifically, I just love how it tracks the sleep again. I mean, all the data that I was able, that my body, my body, yeah, all the data that it has been storing over the past year, because now we've been using this for a year, but
Yeah,
maybe
but
at that
essentially
time
from
it was,
your body. I mean, it is from
yeah,
your body.
I was able to give all that data to my sleep coach. So it really helped her create even she already creates a personalized plan for her clients, but this was even helped her even personalize it even more. And especially, after I'd set my goals. So it really validates your goals also and it helps you. That's why I call it my buddy, my health buddy. Is and again as learning more of like, oh, listening to my body and learning more about my body, it has really helped me validate that. So sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna get a cold. Like this ring tells you already before you even are going to get sick. It'll say
Hmm.
something's straining your body.
Hmm.
And then throughout the day you feel like, oh my gosh, I do have a cold. Like for example, on Tuesday, I woke up with a like I had a stomach bug and my readiness was 44 out of 100. Like that's pretty low. And it was saying something strange in your body. Like I got the stomach bug actually during the evening and I just thought it was something that was going to go away. And then the next day I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still not feeling well. And I'm like, yep, it's definitely a stomach bug. So like this ring is telling you, hey, what you're feeling, it is what you're feeling. And then, for example, I could go into the sleep. I'm just providing real life examples, guys, because I could sit here and tell you all the gadgets that I have, but I just sharing the most recent. Like this is all that happened this week. And then, for example, like Saturday, my score was my sleep score was a 64 out of 100. And I had a busy day on Saturday, and I got home like 8:30 p.m. And I got in the app and it's already telling me like, oh, you haven't had any rest today. You didn't have great sleep last night. Like I'll start asking you like what affected you. You can even use a little AI chat box that you can start telling it like what you have done because it will ask you like, oh, what did you do different? Like if you do well, it'll ask you what you did different. If you're not doing that well, it'll also ask you. But I was like, okay. So Saturday night, I was like, I'm gonna make sure that I prep for a good night's sleep so that hey, I'm like, I'm gonna start bathing early. I actually journaled and shut the lights, shut my door, even though everyone else was still awake in the house and already, in bed by 10:25. So the next day, Sunday, my sleep score was at 86. So look at that difference between just one day and actually listening to your body, validating on the app that you didn't need. to take extra care of yourself in order to have a good night's sleep. So with that, like it just really helps you start, I feel like una viejita, yeah, because things I wouldn't think about is really what's helping me to learn more of my body. Um, I could keep going, John. I don't know if you want to add a little bit of more of yours,
Yeah.
and
So I
then
mean
I'll
to
I'll jump back in with things that I love about it.
yeah. So I mean to Rosie's point, and some of the things that she mentioned more specifically. So it tracks so many important things, such as your vitals, your sleep, your activity, your menstrual cycle, your stress levels, and other biometrics that she talked about. But more specifically, it gives you a sleep score, which she talked about, based on how much sleep you got during the night. So, kind of like your stages of sleep, the amount of time you spend in your REM, your light, basically like light and deep sleep is kind of what that means. Measures your blood oxygen levels, how efficiently your body circulates oxygen, which is very important because then, like, if you're not breathing well, there's something wrong with your body when you're sleeping at night. So maybe like you have to go to the doctor and check that out while you're sleeping. And then it measures your heart rate, which again, if something's wrong with your heart rate, then like it's cause for you to go to the doctor and make sure that like they check that out. Your calories burned during the day and even like when you're sleeping, step count, distance, average pace, your temperature, which is basically how it tracks your menstrual cycle because your temperature tells you what, stage of your menstrual cycle you are basically in. It tells you, just like Rosie mentioned, when you're sick. So your temperature also tells you if you have a fever, which is great, right? Because if your temperature is like skyrocketing, then that means you're sick, obviously, or you're coming down with with some sort of like a cold or whatever. Um, then you get monthly and quarterly reports of your health patterns. So you can share with your doctor if needed to see if something needs to be checked out. The other thing that I appreciate is that it's small and aesthetically cute. I mean, that's important as well because she talked about um, the fact that, like, the the Apple Watch. I mean, yeah, great. Like it's a watch, and but it's bulky, and then you like who sleeps with a watch to track your sleep? Like I know it does that, but like nobody wants to sleep with a watch, and that's super bulky. And so this you can't even feel it when you're sleeping at night. And then it comes in different colors, so like you can choose what color you want to wear. I mean, Rosy tiene su silver, y yo tengo mi gold because based on our preferences. You don't have to take it off, only to charge it every couple of days, essentially. So because it lasts what 5 to according to the the I guess like the website and like the little I guess the manufacturing thing is supposed to last what like 5 to 7 days without with one charge essentially, which we'll talk about that later on. But you can go at max 7 days without charging it. So again, you don't have to take it off, meaning it's waterproof. So you can take a shower with it. You can go swimming with it, according to what they say. And then it integrates with other applications like period apps. So like if you have another period app outside of actually, your actual Oura Ring app, you can integrate it and make and basically like it knows like your menstrual cycle with the actual Aura app, but also with your other cycle, period app. And then it's basically integrated. And then you have a very powerful tool to know essentially like when you have when your period is coming and if you're planning for children or not. Like if you don't want children, like that's when you know that you shouldn't be doing the deeds so that you're not getting pregnant. Or if you do want to have children, that's when you know when you should be doing this stuff. And then there's also other apps that it integrates with, like Strava for people that are runners, and that calculates like your steps and your running, the miles and things like that. There's apps like Headspace for meditation, so it also tracks that. And then for your stress levels, so it helps with that and shows you like, oh, okay, like now your stress levels are super high. So if you integrate with Strap with Headspace, which is a meditation app, then it helps you calm down, and so then your stress levels will actually lower. And then there's so many other apps that they're actually working on integrating with um, in the future. So again, so many options there. So that's kind of like personally why I love it. And I know they're working on so many other things. I know there's an area where they're working on like blood work. So like if you go out and do blood work, you can fit it to your Aura app, like the results, and then that will then update your reports on the Aura app, and then that basically like it supercharges like it's a more like I guess even better powerful tool to know more about your health and your body, because now it has that information as well for your like blood tests and things like that. So so many other things that you can do that like beyond what it comes with essentially. So those are my thoughts about what I specifically like.
Yes. So on my vision board for 2025, the the focus, like I always choose one word, focus, and it was health. So I'm definitely, and I've been tested this year. I was like, I don't know, creo que, pero since I'm definitely in the area of listening to my body, and my ring is definitely, like I said, my body telling me when I need to slow down. So if Jana was just speaking about the stress and how it integrates into headspace, which I didn't know that. So, because later on I'll speak a little bit more of the stress part of this app for Aurora. Um, pero another thing I like is if you have buddies that have the ring, they
Oh,
could
the
be in your
circle.
circle of friends.
Yes.
Yes.
And you
I
can
just feel,
monitor each other.
yes. So honestly, I don't really track it, but sometimes I do. And when I remember, Jana's always doing a lot better than I am. So
But
I
you
really
know
try.
what? It can be good and bad, because then good because it's accountability, because then you see like, oh, my other friend is doing so much better, so I should probably like step up and like try to like get better. But then it's bad because it's like, oh crap, like they're doing so much better, so like I need to get my shit together type of thing. So like I don't know. It helps, but also it's like, oh, like I'm not doing so great. So like just I don't know. Like take it as a
Well,
as a grain
well,
as a grain of salt.
I was looking at it as of like, hey, checking in on your loved ones. So if you know someone that has it, add them to your circle, and it's a way of like, okay, just checking in on them. Like, oh, great job, you're doing great. Oh, I see. Are you okay? I see your score is a little bit low. I
Yeah,
haven't
I
gotten there.
guess.
Like I said, I haven't really checked it, but like the few times that I have, it yeah, it's a cool thing to have. Like, okay, you're part of a community because one of the things that Jana and I were talking about, like Jana, you said it's a conversation starter. Like people now see us wearing this ring, or anyone that has a ring, I'm sure, and they're like, "Oh, how do you like it? And what do you like about it?" And they're like, "I've been thinking about getting it, but I'm not so sure." So then you just give your own testimonial. So
Yes, yes.
it's been a conversation starter for sure, and it's what helps you feel part of a community, and everyone loves being a part of a community. So that's a cool feature that it has, is the circle on the app, which is basically where you can invite friends to your circle.
Yeah.
Um, and then of the menstrual cycle, like I don't have an app integrated into it,
I don't either.
but it's like if you're old school like me, I don't know, for the past 3 years, just using the natural rhythm of how women back in the day would use, it really still validates on like, okay, where you are. So you're tracking it manually, like it really sees like, okay, kind of what I'm seeing manually is also what the app is telling me on which menstrual cycle I'm in. And I know if I hope you guys have listened to the episode is in Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, we have an episode of this year as well of a menstrual coach.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about all the different phases and how our body is and when we're the most energetic and when we need to take care of ourselves. And on this
It
Aura
tells
app,
you
it tells
which
you which
phase.
phase you're in and what you should be doing. Like, take it easy. You're in this phase. Like, oh, you have big project work going on. Like right now is you're in your most creative space. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this because
So
there
for
you go.
me, right now, it says that I'm on my luteal phase. So
There
it
you
tells
go.
me what
So what
things I
does it
should
say
be.
on there, Jana? Can you read a little bit on it?
Yeah, so it says that I should be begin. It says the luteal phase begins the day after you ovulate and ends the day before your next period begins. The unique aspect of the phase can help explain changes you may notice during the second half of your cycle. So let's take a minute to learn about them, and then if you go um, to the next areas, it tells you everything about like your biometric changes during that phase, how your your heart rate changes, your body, your temperature changes, your hormones changes, how what you should eat during that
Yeah.
phase, maybe the exercises you should be doing, how you're gonna be feeling during that phase, and so many other things. So like
Yeah.
it's just great telling
I'm
you
telling
everything
you,
you.
it's my health buddy. It's my new health buddy. So I'll keep saying it. If you're in your health era and listen in your era of listening to your body, definitely this is a great investment. And I just love how of everything that Mars spoke about in our menstrual uh episode, I forget when it was, but it was around the summertime. Like all the advice that she gave us during that episode aligns with what the ring is telling us, and I just
a
love it.
hundred
Like,
percent
oh.
she was an expert. You can tell she was an expert because everything she was talking about, 100% to your point, Rosie, is exactly what the ring talks about every time you're in one of those phases. And it tells
Yeah.
you some of the things that some of like her recommendations of the things that we should be doing during those phases is exactly what they recommend in the app, like on like what we should be doing. So like, love it. Love it.
Yes. So, I mean, we'll stop there with all the things we love about it. I'm sure you guys get the
Because
point.
yes, you get the point. We love the ring, but there are also things that we don't necessarily like enjoy. Not a lot
Right.
of things, obviously, because you heard, right? Like we love so many things, but there are a few things, little things that we don't necessarily love about the ring, and we will share that with you, right? So let's talk about the bad. Some of the issues, let's say just issues. I wouldn't say like we hate or that we don't necessarily like. It's just some issues that we experience with the ring itself so that you guys know. So if you do make the investment on the ring, you are aware of some things that could happen when you do have the ring, essentially. So we'll start with sometimes it doesn't necessarily accurately track your certain things, right? So depending on what you're doing, also if you don't have it positioned right, so it has like a little deep thing right
A
here where
sensor.
like your yeah sensor that you have to have it positioned correctly like under your finger. So if you don't have that correctly positioned, it won't track anything correctly. So you have to always make sure that it's positioned right. So if you don't have it correctly positioned during the day or more specifically at night when you're sleeping, forget about it. Like you won't get the actual data that you need. So you have to make sure that before you go to sleep, that's actually positioned right and that you have it positioned right during the day. And especially when you are doing an activity during the day as well. So for me specifically, when I'm doing an activity, I know Rosie doesn't really track her activity as much, but I do. And like one of my things is that I ride my Peloton bike, and there are times that, or like I take a walk or whatever, and sometimes it thinks that I'm doing something that I'm necessarily not doing, the run activity. So like if I'm maybe clapping like a lot, maybe like I'm at a concert or whatever, um, or at an activity, an event or whatever, if I'm clapping for a long time, it thinks that I'm like running or something. So then it thinks that I'm exercising when I'm really not. So then I have to go in and cancel that activity because it's obviously inaccurate. So that's one example. Um, and then it takes a little time to actually sink in. Like when I do run my bike, my Peloton bike, the activity doesn't really show up like right away. It takes, I don't know, it takes some time for it to actually show up under my activity, as in like, oh, I did that for an hour or 45 minutes. So I have to do some like maneuvering in the app for it to actually show up. Like I have to like reload it, or I don't know, like I have to do some things for it to actually show up. So sometimes that's not really accurate. So just so you know, like there may be some things there that you know, I'm just letting you know. Then you have to be careful because it does scratch easily if on rough surfaces. But I mean, I feel like that depends on who you are and what kinds of things you typically do with your hands. So, like, if you go to the gym and you're like lifting weights, like, be careful. Maybe take it off. I mean, socks, because you won't be able to actually record that activity. But I mean, think about it. Like, if you are lifting weights, like, it will scratch. So you may have to wear like gloves or something. I don't know. But that will happen. If you work in an area like, I don't know, manufacturing or with your hands a lot, again, protect your hands because it will scratch. So be careful because that will happen. The other thing that I would say is the price. I mean, we did talk about that at the beginning, like within the intro. It's not cheap. We did say it. So it is not budget friendly, and there is a subscription as well as aside from the 499 if you were to buy like the ones that we talked about. I think the cheapest one is, what is it, Rosie? 399 or 300?
Probably. Mine
I
was
think
three
it's
ninety nine, and mine is just a silver one. So, and it's the
yeah.
fourth
So it may
generation.
yeah. I think it may start like at 399. The cheapest one I think it starts at 399. The most expensive is 499. But then again, it's still that's still an investment. But then there's also the monthly membership, or you can also do the annual membership, which is $69.99 a year. So you can pay it like right away and pay annually, or the monthly subscription is $5.99. So, but again, it sucks because if you don't do the subscription, it won't work. Like it won't work. So you do need the subscription. So the app won't open or won't work for the ring if you don't have the subscription. So that's the thing. So aside from being an investment and buying the ring, you also have to pay for the subscription for it to be able to work. But again, an investment, if you really want, that information, the data, and all the things that we talked about, that's the price you're gonna have to pay to get that. So that's what it's gonna cost. However, there is if you do have an HSA or FSA, based on your insurance, you are able to buy it with that if you have an account where you have HSA or FSA money. So that is one thing. So if you are anyone that has that money, HSA money or FSA money, you are actually able to buy it with that money. So if you're lucky enough that you have that ability to do so, then you're in luck because you can do that. But if you don't, yeah, then you have to pay, kind of like out of pocket with the $4.99 and then the monthly membership or annually. So that's kind of the my the bad things that I kind of see about it, and yeah, that's what I see. I don't know, Rosie, you
Well,
can tell.
yeah. Well, what got me to get it was when I saw it was HSA eligible. I'm like, okay, you got me.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely take advantage if you do have a high deductible insurance plan. And I would say, I mean, Jana, you've covered pretty much, but one of the things that, people do ask me, like, oh, does it leave a mark on your finger, with your circulation? And it does sometimes, like when I wake up, I'll feel like a huge mark. Um, and that's out of my control at night. But during the day, to avoid just having that mark, especially after I wash my hands, like I am constantly changing it from one finger to another. Like if it's wet, like I'm changing it to another, like para que le get some air breathe through it.
Pero,
Um,
pero that's only if you can do that because I can't. Porque it happens so that this finger is what más flaco que this finger, so I don't have the ability to
you
move
don't change it? Okay.
to move it from here to here, unfortunately. And if I do, then it will be stuck here. So I'm just saying. Nada
There
más
you
Rosy
go.
puede
That's
hacer eso.
another thing for you guys that once you do your ring size fitting,
You
because
may
they
be
send you
stuck.
a kit, make sure that you try on all fingers and you choose your favorite finger that you want to wear it on.
Exactly.
I did not know that. And then after that, as I mentioned, I'm not as active. So always thinks every time I do an activity, it thinks I'm doing chores, like every time. And it's like, I'm like, okay,
Maybe because you do a lot of chores and now it
yeah,
thinks
I'm like,
that's
I know I got on the treadmill, but you're not gonna catch that, or it will just think like, oh, you were doing chores. But um, yeah, and then the other thing about that, we'll talk about the battery life. Jana will go into it here a little bit because I just thought it was a me problem. Like I was like, I'm getting so frustrated. My app is not uploading. I gotta charge this thing all the time now.
yeah. So
So
we'll talk about our
I'll let
next
you could go into
topic.
that now, Jana, of what
Yeah.
surprised us.
So the next topic is what surprised us. And is the fact that for me, and then that's where like I talked to Rosie about it, and then we happen to both be on the same boat, I guess, is that after 1 year of wearing the ring daily, for some reason the battery started to die out like a lot faster than normal. So like there was one point that we would have to charge the ring like twice a day, which was not normal. Because like
Yeah.
if you buy a ring, like at the beginning, we like I said earlier, we would just charge it once and it would just last 7 days, like even 8 days, like a whole week. We would go a
Mhm.
whole week without having to charge it. And then for it to be like a year later and then having to charge it twice a day. So in the morning when we would wake up, would have to charge it, and then at night before we go to sleep would have to charge it again so that it could actually track our data from our sleep that night, which I thought that was weird because I'm like, okay, that's not normal. Like it shouldn't be doing that. So then I asked Rosie because I was very curious, like, are you having this issue? And then she happened to be having that same issue. So I was like, okay, that's not normal. So then I went down the rabbit hole and I did some research because that's what I like to do. And then I found out that a lot of people with the this generation ring happen to have the same issue. So then I saw that someone like went to the app. There's like the help area in the app, and then you go and you tell them like, "Hey, my ring is having battery issues. Like I'm not sure what's going on. Like I have to charge it twice a day. Like what do I do?" And so like I did that, and then the I guess like the tech people on the back end, they did like an assessment on the ring, and then it detected some sort of like malfunction after the 1 year mark, and then they ended up saying that I don't know that like that it wasn't working and that wasn't normal, and so they ended up sending a replacement ring. Like, oh, we're so sorry, we'll send you a replacement ring. That shouldn't be happening. And then that's exactly what Rosie ended up doing. But again, like that's not normal for an investment so big. A year later, for a year of just using the ring, we shouldn't be getting like we shouldn't be our batteries shouldn't be dying so fast after 1 year and getting a replacement. So my only concern about it is that a year from now, because we just got the replacement, what, like last month, Rosie?
Mhm. Yeah.
Our concern is that a year from now, like, is that gonna happen again? Do we have to get another replacement? Like, is that's just the thing that I'm like a little concerned about. Again, we love the ring, everything that it does. It's just that we're surprised that that's happening, and we're not the only people experiencing that. There's other people out there, a lot of other people out there with this generation ring. going through that, and it's just not okay, honestly, for the investment. Although
Yeah.
we love that they, they took accountability and they're like, hey, we'll send you a replacement. We're so sorry. That shouldn't be happening. But still, like, it just shouldn't be happening.
We'll have to give we'll have to give a 2-year review.
And
But
let
I'll
you
give
know.
it to them. The whole process to replace it. I know, Jana, thank you for doing the research because I would have not known. I could just go on the app on the hub and I just type in, oh, my battery, is not charging well, and it just asked me. I forgot. Basically, it took me less than 5 minutes to let them
That's
know
true.
what's going on. They sent me a link. They looked into the back end of the Ring app, and
Yeah,
then
they
I
did
just
an
had to
assessment
add.
on
Yep,
their end, and they just told them like, oh, it's not
just
working. We'll send
validate.
you a replacement. Yeah.
Just
So
had me verify the shipping address and done. Like, and then within a week it was here. So it was super smooth process. So it's like you don't have to call any. In a nutshell, it took me less than 5 minutes. As soon as Jana told me what I need to do, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, one more thing to do, a half hour. Like, nope, 5 minutes later, done.
yeah.
And super quick. So that at least that's a good thing. And also, if you're wondering, all of our data did sync, so we did not lose
Yes.
our data. So that was that was our
We
fear.
were
Like, I
able to
wonder if we lose our
transfer.
data. So we
Yes.
did not lose any data at all, which is super
Which
important for us.
Which also, to your point, when you do buy, it's the same thing. Like if you do buy another ring, because you know how they have like different generations. So like
Right.
let's say they come out with like a generation
Sure.
5 or whatever next year, and we happen to want to buy that generation 5 ring or whatever. If we buy it and we then transfer, we can transfer our data to that ring and we don't lose any of our previous data. So what that's the good thing about it. That you won't lose your data from way, like before, like from since the beginning, essentially. So
Mhm.
that's the good thing about it.
Yeah. And something else that surprised me is that like I thought it would measure all types of stress, even though like it measures your heart and your psychological and but I got something called TMJ this year, which is like my jaw and my where my ears they got locked. And that was from grinding my teeth at night. I mean, I did have ear infections back to back, and then it was like stress related on that. But then I started grinding my teeth even more. And when I was told, I was like, what is TMJ? They're like, oh, yeah, you get that when you're stressed. And my ring didn't pick up on it. Because I even told the ENT, I'm like, but my ring is not telling me. I'm like, I'm not stressed. And they're like, yeah, well, there's, some stresses that can't be measured. So that was only
Yeah.
something that was surprising. I'm like, oh, like this whole time. Because I mean, I'll have days they'll show me I'm stressed for 6 hours. But that was one surprise to me. But
So
besides that, go ahead.
so Rosie and I, was it yesterday or the day before? We were texting back and forth. We talked about that because I did have a massive headache. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday,
Yesterday.
yep. Mhm,
And so Rosie asked me like, oh, did your ring pick up on that? And I said no, because which is where like that whole thing came up, where we talked about like, oh, it doesn't pick up on specific like isolated stress issues or like
mhm,
I guess things that are happening to your body, because like I had a massive headache but my ring wasn't telling me that. So just know that it won't tell you like, oh, you have a high stress because something may be happening to your body. Like obviously it's not going to tell you have like a massive headache, or like that something isolated is happening to your body. It's not going to tell you that specifically. The
mhm.
ring measures mostly like,
Heart
I guess
rate.
like, yeah, it's more of a holistic, like body issue, not so
Mhm,
much isolated things like when you, again, like I said, when you have like a massive headache. I told Rosie, like when you have like maybe like your period and you have like massive cramps, which I
mhm,
experience a lot. Like in my ring, it's not gonna tell me that I'm experiencing like massive
mhm,
cramps, even though that will cause a lot of stress. But
mhm,
the ring won't pick up that I'm very stressed out because I have massive cramps from my period.
mhm,
So like those are little things, or like that I have like an ear infection or whatever, like Rosie, right? So like
mhm,
isolated things, the ring won't pick up on those things. It has to be a very holistic thing,
mhm.
happening to your body. for it to pick up on it to tell you like, oh, something's straining your body. So like you're gonna get sick or you are sick for it to actually pick it up on the ring. So just so
Yeah.
you know, it's not gonna
Yeah.
tell you like something isolated. It's gonna
Definitely.
be a whole
Definitely a
holistic thing.
correlation between your heart rate and your body temperature. Those are the two main things I'll measure
And
for
how
stress.
it will tell you exactly. Like it will tell you more of you're gonna get sick based on your like Rosie said, heart rate and your body temperature for sure, which is like the first thing that it will pick up for sure. And like it may be other stressors during the night, like maybe you didn't sleep well, like other things, blood oxygen and things like that. While
Mm-hmm.
you were sleeping, that didn't really like the patterns were kind of like different than like the other typical nights. And
Yeah.
that's kind of says that's how it comes up as like, nope, like something's wrong with your body. So like you're gonna get
Yeah.
sick or you're sick, but not
And that's why
isolated
there's so
things.
many. That's why it has so many integrations, like people to check their blood sugar, like you can integrate that. The whole
Mm-hmm.
headspace for more stress. So yeah, I think we could keep talking about it. And let's wrap it up. Like your final thoughts, Jatna.
Yes. So, anyways, final thoughts. At the end of the day, even though we had a replacement after a year, I still love the Aura Ring and what it has done for me and my health this year. I've been able to intentionally take time to rest when my ring tells me that I need to do that. Whether it is because I'm sick or because I need to get quality sleep or something is affecting my body. It's been literally giving me, it's a tool to intentionally tell me, like, okay, you need to pause and you need to take time for yourself and you need to rest and you need to recharge. And now I'm able to actually validate, right? Like that, like, yes, I need to do that and not actually keep going instead of like not listening to something. Like this validates that like I actually need to sit down or rest and take some time to feel better, to just, rest and take the time so that I can then feel better and then tackle whatever comes next. So I've been able to do that. And honestly, that is what I put on my vision board for 2025 last year. Where I intentionally, I didn't know when I put balance, I didn't really mean balance by like balance with my health. It was more like holistically like balance with like life and work and and like my children and things like that. But I didn't honestly intentionally, that's what I did. But like I didn't know that that's what it meant. Like it was more, I guess like I learned that's overall, it just meant that that's what I needed. Not so much, yeah, like the other stuff was important, but I learned that the balance was like I needed to balance out myself, like actually taking the time to listen to my body and
Mhm.
take care of myself. And yeah, the self-care, like we always talk about self-care. And Rosie says that I'm like really good at self-care. Yes, I try, but my self-care always looks very different than like actually sitting down and taking care of myself that way. And I took the time to actually do self-care that way than like the other ways. As in like go, taking time to like, I don't know, like go out and like, go shopping or um, do things with my children or like take the time to just like be and exist or whatever and do other things for myself instead of just like resting and just, chilling and just like maybe drinking some tea and just like being meditating or reading something. Like that is what self-care looked like for me this year rather than the other type of self-care. So that's my final thought and what I learned with the Aura Ring this year.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, we'll have very similar things, but for me, it's always been hard to rest. And my body and my ring have definitely have been speaking to me on that I need some rest, especially with some little things I've had been going like every month. I was telling Jim, like every month I would have
You
something
you were
going
sick.
on. So hopefully um, my ring shows a lot higher readiness scores in this 2026.
2026.
Um, because actually, when I opened it in February last year, I was sick. Like I that same week I got sick. So it's like so with that, I just want to let you guys know that definitely it validates on how you feel and it helps you make very good choices of your sleep schedule. Like those are my top two things. That's why I call it my health buddy, and that's why I got it was for the whole sleep because I've always thought something's wrong with me. But it's like if you don't have, you know, good sleep, like even though sometimes you're in bed for 10 hours, but maybe you never didn't have a good night's sleep. Like my ring will say that. Like, oh, you slept 7 hours, but then there was a lot of interruptions. Now you may think like, oh, I slept 7 hours, but then did you have interruptions? And even I don't know, for the past month or so, I don't know, it's because I've been letting go of some stuff and also trying to sleep a little bit better ever since I got the sleep coach. But the buzzword right now, oh, you're not losing weight, your cortisol is high. Like
Sleep is
having a
important. It's the
better sleep
foundation.
schedule, even having
Helps.
a better sleep schedule helps with your cortisol. And I was weighing like 158 in the mornings, and now I'm like 152. And I haven't changed anything, like no activity, no food
Your sleep.
difference.
You have to change
And
your sleep.
yeah. And the lady that does my hair, she's like, oh, look, your hair's not falling out that much. And she's like, I know we've been trying lots of things on your hair. I'm like, oh, I've also been trying to go to bed earlier because I would always like want to cram everything I didn't do during the day at nighttime. And then it's like I'm always like exhausted. So with that said, it's like, you know, like Jana said, it's a foundation. So that's why I call it my health buddy, honestly. And it really has helped me validate on how I feel. Like I'm gonna sound like a broken record saying that. But every time someone asks me, like, oh, if I like my ring, I'm like, I got it for my sleep, but it's also what I have taken away is it really validates on how I feel. Because before I had a ring, I would have a fever and I would like, oh no, I gotta push my body. And now I'm like, no, this thing is telling me that I need to take it easy. And it'll
Mhm.
tell you, like, even it's just a nap. And sometimes it'll be just a 15-minute nap. And then they'll say, like, oh, wow, this really boosted your readiness. And then it's like, okay, good. Like, I won't feel like I was wasting time taking a nap. It was like, this is what's really going to boost my readiness, my body to be able to keep going to the second half of the day, for example. So it's a great investment for your health. It's an excellent tool to start learning more about your body. Definitely for you if you're in the era of listening more to your body. So with that said, go click on the link in this episode of the bio and keep learning more of the Oura Ring. Or feel to send us a DM. We'll be happy to answer any specific questions that you have before you purchase the ring, or if you already have the ring, if you just want to say like,
You
hey,
have
I have
questions. Yeah.
questions.
We're
So
happy to help.
thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to more exciting episodes in 2026. And
Yes.
please, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you're watching on YouTube, just on any of your favorite podcast platforms. So muchas gracias y feliz año nuevo.
Hasta la
Ciao.
próxima. Chao.